welcome to Geometry 1.3, our lesson on midpoints. We're here for Objective 4, finding coordinates or measures given a midpoint. So in previous objectives, we were finding the midpoint. In these objectives, we're given a midpoint, and typically we're given a midpoint and one other endpoint, and we're asked to figure out the first endpoint. So that's the situation that we're in. We're going to use the same formula, and I'm going to use this format where our midpoint, midpoint, x of my midpoint, y of my midpoint is equal to the x coordinate of my first, p, plus the x of my second, divided by 2, comma, the y of my first plus the y of my second, divided by 2. So this is the format I'm going to use where it's clear where each x and y is coming from. So our first step is to describe the relationship in words. We're finding a midpoint of a segment that has both x and y coordinates, which tells me this isn't just midpoint on a number line, this is midpoint on the coordinate plane. Midpoint on the coordinate plane, right? And then I'm going to take this larger relationship and break it up into my x midpoint. So x of my midpoint is equal to the x of my first coordinate. In this case, I'm given one endpoint L, and my second coordinate j that I'm trying to find, x of j divided by 2, and my y coordinate of my midpoint will be the y of L plus the y of j over 2. So I'm saying x of L, x of j, y of L, y of j. And then I'm going to put those together at the end by bringing these, I'm just going to put this at the bottom to remind myself I want to find my final answer in terms of x of the midpoint, y of the midpoint. Okay, then going back up, I'm going to label my known values. Now in this case, I could also replace my m with k. This is my midpoint. I can just label k as my midpoint. So I know that x of my midpoint is -1. And that y of my midpoint is 2. And then I'm given that the x of my L is 3, and the y of my L is -5. I'm going to squeeze this back here. Okay, I'm going to substitute these into my equations. So in this case, I know x sub m is -1 equals x sub L, which is 3, so that should actually be green, which is 3, plus x sub j, which is what I don't know and I'm trying to find, divided by 2. And I know that y sub m is 2. Oops, I'll replace that with 2. Okay, and y sub L I know is -5. Y sub L is -5. And y sub j I don't know, divided by 2. And now I have two equations that I need to solve. So I'm going to break this up. In this first case, I have this big fraction. I need to get rid of the denominator, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. Multiply both sides by 2. My 2's cancel on this side. On the left, I have 2 times -1 is -2 equals, that canceled, 3 plus x sub j. And over here, I'm also going to multiply both sides by 2, so that my 2's cancel here. 2 times 2 is 4 equals, those are gone. I have negative 5 plus y sub j. Then I have one more step to take. Here I'm going to subtract 3 from each side. Here I'm going to add 5 to each side. And I get x sub j equals negative 5, and y sub j equals 9. Then putting that together into a midpoint form will be negative 5, 9. And I can check that with a graph. I know that the midpoint I'm given, k, is negative 1, 2. That's my midpoint k. I know that the end point L I was given is 3, negative 5. Okay, that's L. And then the J that I found was negative 5, 9, which would be way up here, 6, 7, 8, 9. So about here. So does that make sense? Does that give me an end point L, K, where my midpoint seems to be about halfway through? Yes, it does. So that is a reasonable answer.